clear to play. MiniWarGaming's Beat the Cooler Bat Rap!
Hey there, MiniWarGamers. Owen here from MiniWarGaming with Kyle to bring you yet another Warhammer 40k battle report. This time it's 1,500 points of Imperial Guard up against Eldar, and I'm not playing the Eldar, so it's not going to be a whole bunch of psyker cheesiness. It'll be some other kind of cheese because it's Eldar. Just there you go, strength 6 cheese. And I'll show you the armies. We haven't rolled off for what we're doing yet, but we'll do that in just a moment, and we'll show you what we're doing. That's pretty much what I'm going for there. So first off, we have the Eldar 1,500 point army. So here we go. We've got a unit of Dire Avengers with the Exarch, and he's got the Shimmer Shield and a power weapon. And they're of course mounted in a Wave Serpent that has shuriken cannons and star cannons on top. We've got a 5-man unit of Rangers, just as is. We've got another unit of 9 Dire Avengers, just with shuriken catapults, no Exarch. Another Wave Serpent with the star cannons and shuriken cannon. And we've got a 8-man Warp Spider unit with the Exarch and an Autarch, and he's got a bunch of different equipment there. Basically, he's got a warp jump generator as well. He's just another Warp Spider with them, but he also has a Melt-A-Gun and then a Scorpion Sword. Then we've got a unit of Reapers, and they of course have a Exarch is with them as well, because he's got the flak missile launchers and then Starshot as well. And then we've got 2 units of Vipers, and they each have a star cannon and star cannon and what's it called? Shuriken cannon. There we go. Imperial Guard. We've got a Lord Commissar with his Power Fist, as I usually do. Then we've got a unit of Guardsmen with 2 Meltas, a Sergeant, and a autocannon in a Chimera. Same thing, only with a las cannon. This one has a rocket launcher. 2 Meltas and a missile launcher. Now this one's a little bit different. It's got a heavy flamer and a rocket, and it's in a Chimera, and they're all in Chimeras. And then we've got one last unit. This is our veterans. They've got 2 Meltas, and they're in a Chimera with an autocannon. And then we've got 2, now they're Colossus. I thought they were Medusas, and I messed up when I was building my list, and you'll see I mess up quite a bit by not taking advantage of that. So here's the board. We are doing the scouring, so there are 6 objectives, and we're going to flip them over now. So this one's worth 4. 3. And then we've got another one in the middle here. That's worth 2. We've got another one over in the corner. That one's worth 1. And then we've got another one worth 3. We messed up with the numbers there, and then the last one, another 2. So there we go. We've got all the objectives, and as it stands, the Eldar do have first turn because I don't steal the initiative. And so Eldar turn 1 begins. First thing, he moves his Falcon tank off to the side, getting a little bit closer with his Vipers in that. Unfortunately, he can only really glance the front of my tanks because they're all high armor, and so he's going to be rolling for 6s just to try and do anything to them. So he's kind of out of luck as far as just blowing my armor away. But if he gets on the either flank, then it's not that hard at all to break an armor 10 vehicle. That being said, his skimmers are only armor 10, and all my Chimeras have heavy bolters and multi-lasers, so I can just fire away and glance or even pen him to death. So here we go, shooting at the first tank. Hits twice, re-rolling because it's twin-linked, and hits with the other ones. Now everybody needs 6s, and he does not get any. So here we go. He's going to fire the shield on his Wave Serpent. It gets 2 shots, strength 7, so it needs 5s to glance. And, oh, well, first has to hit. So 3s to hit, and then 5s to glance. And he doesn't get any. Ding! Now firing with the next group. 2 of them are in range, hitting on 3s, glancing on 6s. And that one fell off. And he got a 6. There we go. So 1 glance, and I do not make my cover save of a 5+ thanks to those rocks. Here we go, shoot at the next tank over with another group of Vipers, and they get a bunch of hits, but once again, they need 6s to glance, but he does get 2, so it goes down to 1 hull point already. The Reapers decide that they're going to shoot at my Colossus. 3s and 2s, the red ones need 2s, of course, and then 4s to glance, and he gets a pen, but I make my cover save. Here we go, taking shots at my other Chimera at the other end of the board, and he does get a few hits, and gets a pen, but it's a 1, so they can only snap shoot and they lose a hull point. The snipers decide that they're going to shoot at it as well, because, I mean, he's got nothing else to shoot at, so he might as well roll for, like, the 6s. So 6s to glance, and he doesn't get any. Imperial Guard begins. The Imperial Guard tank that can only snap shoot just barrels ahead. The Colossus moves back. Now, once again, I'm thinking that these are Medusas, so they only have a 24-inch range, not a minimum of 24-inch range. And so, yeah, kind of really messed up here. So I start firing away with my tanks, shooting into his skimmers here, and I do get one glance. Next one fires off. That was with the autocannons. It's shooting its multi-laser and its heavy bolter, and the rocket hits as well, so 3 glances, but he does jink 2 of them, but we do destroy one of his vehicles. Next one decides it's going to fire at the Vipers on the other end. Bunch of hits, the green one of course being the rocket, or the blue one rather. He does jink 1, and it does get destroyed. These 2 jinks get through, or 2 glances get through. Anyway, firing away, and then he does dodge 2 of those, but 1 gets through and glances him again. So here we go, snap shooting the las cannon, the turret, and I'm going to shoot the heavy bolter as well, but unfortunately I just don't hit. Here you go, these guys are a little bit more accurate shooting their guns, and they do get a glance, but he does make his cover save. Eldar turn begins, his reserves come in. The Autarch's going to try and deep strike right in the middle of my tanks, but he does scatter directly on top of my Colossus, or Colossal, and he goes back into reserve. So he's back into ongoing reserves. He'll have to come back next time. But at least he didn't die, and at least he didn't get chosen by me where he gets to show up. Still moving up on the side with his Vipers and tanks. Moving over here with the other Vipers, just jumping over top of the terrain. Getting in a better position so he can slowly start getting into my side armor. Here we go, taking a bunch of shots. Unfortunately, he's still on the front end, though. And gets a bunch of hits. But it does wreck the tank, and everybody jumps out, but they pass their pinning check. Here we go, firing at them with his Vipers, taking a bunch of shots with star cannons and heavy bolters, but one of them goes down, and then a few more go down when they had to take their cover saves. Splat, splat, splat. Reapers decide they're going to shoot at my tank on the other side of the board, and he gets a whole bunch of hits and a bunch of pens. And of course I can't make my 5-up cover despite my tree. But it does not explode, it only wrecks, so everybody climbs out and they pass their pinning check. Here we go, trying to finish off the tank with only 1 hull point, and he gets a whole bunch of hits. And it wrecks it. But they don't get penned, so everybody jumps and just kind of climbs out. Firing his shield at those guys, he hits them twice and wounds them twice, but they both die. Oh, I think I messed up there. Oh, it was 1 wound onto the rocket launcher guy. That's what happened. So here we go, taking a shot with the snipers. 6s, he gets a 6, and unfortunately the rending does not push him over. Morale check for those fellas, and they do pass. So here we go, these guys moving up in the center, going after the Vipers with their melta-guns. The Stormtroopers moving up right here, trying to get up and get into the fight. These guys, they decide they're just going to climb on top of that tank with their las cannon. Everybody else is just going to kind of hang out in cover for a little bit, because I don't want to advance up while that tank is still alive. So, bad idea anyway. So they're going to tuck into that wreckage and just shoot out using it as cover. This tank does not get immobilized. Next tank does not get immobilized. So my Chimeras continue to now start to advance forward, because we're going to try and push through now that the Vipers are mostly destroyed, so he can't really flank me as good. Taking a bunch of shots at the Vipers here, just blam, 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 and I do end up jinking and destroying 1. And I do get a pen with one of my meltas, but he fails his dodge, but he does make the reduce it to a glance. Firing another pair of meltas, and they hit, and they pen, and he dodges 1 and reduces the other one down to just a glance. So he's got 1 hull point left there. These guys firing their meltas at the next one, they both hit because they're deadly accurate. The rocket hits too, and it does a glance, and they get all kinds of pens, destroying the first one, but they unfortunately dodged the other one. Here we go, we've got the tank shooting away, and it fails to do anything effective. The rocket inside takes a pot shot and hits and glances. He fails to dodge, and it destroys that tank. So they all jump out, but they do pass their morale check. Firing its las cannon at the tank that does not have its serpent shield or shimmer shield or whatever it is that it's got on it. But unfortunately, he does jink it. Then I take a bunch of pot shots with my other tank, killing off a few of his Pathfinders. Right here, we've got a shot from the Colossus, because I finally realized what it is. And it scatters over, hitting 2 of the Guardians anyway, and wounding 2, but he has a 5-up invuln thanks to that shimmer shield that guy carries. So of course it comes to the closest one, because it is a barrage ordnance weapon. And once again, I was very disappointed that I had not caught on that that's what that was. So it scatters a bit, but it hits him regardless, and I get 2d6 to pen. It's strength 6, so 4s to glance, and Bam, I get a pen, so he's got to make his 5-up jink. And he does not, so here we go. Boom, blows it up because it's dice +1 thanks to him being open-topped. And that is the end of that tank. Here we go, the Warp Spider's going for it again, deep strike, and he scatters 5 inches, which puts him right beside that Colossus and makes him have to perils again. But he goes right back into reserve once again. The Rangers, we forgot about their morale check, but they do pass. The Viper here flies over, skimming around now that he's one of the last Vipers on the board. The other tank moves over to take pot shots at my tank, and first the Reapers shoot because they want to kind of blow it up and then let the tanks mow down the guys that are inside. So he gets 2 pens, and what do? And nope, not quite lucky enough, so just down to 1 hull point there. Here we go, taking shots with all of his shuriken catapults into my unit of veterans, or not veterans, these are better than veterans. These are my stormtroopers, these are the best of the best, and they got mowed down. And 4 up, 1 dies again, and then we've got another 2 more saves left before it makes it to the Commissar, but they make those too, so they do surprisingly well, and 1 more save, and there we go. And the last guy goes down, and it has to be the Sergeant, because I can't really look out sir onto my Commissar. And that's that. So I lost a good majority of that squad, which kind of bums me out, but that's okay, it happens. Here we go, taking shots with his snipers, and my turret survives. He takes cover in that ruined tank. Here we go, he's using his little run after shooting to move forward a bit, but he actually had messed up there because he had meant to charge me after shooting. But because he ran, he actually was not able to charge, so that kind of sucks. But it did save me. So, firing his turret at my tank because he does not want it to get closer to that tank there so they can start shooting Meltas. But unfortunately he misses, but it is twin-linked with the turret. And gets another hit. 6 to glance. Now he's actually, it looks like he's got heavy bolters on here. I'm going to have to change that at the beginning. Anyway, or heavy shuriken cannons. These guys pass their leadership and then move back into the forest, taking cover in there. The other tank doesn't get immobilized. You bet it gets immobilized. So they're stuck there. But the unit jumps out of the back and gets in position there. They can try and kill these Avengers even if they have a full unit of 5-up invulns. They're basically Terminators right now. Only with lower toughness and less wounds and less attacks and less armor save. But they have a 5-up invuln. That's what I mean. They're Terminators in my mind. These little guys, they all scurry through the woods or get up towards the woods because they're going to start sneaking up on those tanks and Dark Reapers there because their Meltas can still take pot shots. They move up to the forest there and take cover. These fellas, they just creep around because they're going to try and blow up that Viper with their last gun, and they spread out a whole bunch so that they can try and mitigate some of the damage that's going to come at them from those rockets. These fellas, they just rush forward into the field. They're going to try and cross the gap with their few melta guns and rocket launchers, but I don't really think that they have a good chance of making it. So they move up, but I'm doing it. It's what you have to do. Some guardsmen are going to have to get sacrificed for the greater good. I mean, we're not talking about the greater good. Anyway, we get a pen through with the rocket, or with the Melta, and the rocket hits and glances as well. So he's got to make a 4-up jink. Here comes the pen. Nope. And the glance. Nope. So it dies, but does it explode? Because it is open-topped. And so, dice +3. You bet it blows up. How big is the explosion? 4 inches, which I believe is just enough to hit that first Melta guy, so it'll wound him on a 4. And it does not. So, boom, that dies, and he's alright. Here we go, taking pot shots with the Meltas. The 2 of them hit, and then Las Cannon also hits. So, 4's to glance with the Meltas. And we get 1 pen, and then 3 to glance. And we get another pen. So 2 pens he's got to jank out of the way of. Here we go, he's got 4+. Yeah, because we had to roll them separately because it may be that the AP1 goes through or the AP2, which could mean different things if I actually get a pen that does damage. So here we go against the Melta. He does not dodge it. And against the Las Cannon, he does. So the Melta, he's got a 2+ now thanks to his shield to try and mitigate that damage, reduce it to just a glance. And he does successfully because it's on a 2+. So he loses a hull point, and that is all that happens. So, boop, he's got 2 left. Here we go, we've got the next unit rushing up. They're going to fire their Meltas and Las Cannon, or Meltas and rockets. 2 hits with the Meltas, because they are veterans, and the rocket launcher hits as well. So here we go, forced to glance with the Meltas. We get 1 glance, and then 4 to glance with the rocket. We do not. And so here we go, he's got a 4+ jink. Or 5+ jink, rather. But either way, he dodged it. And there we go. So that's all I could do. Here we go, I start firing my Ordnance Colossus cannons on him. And the first one scatters 9 inches, but actually puts it just on the other side of that tank, which does make it still hit the tank anyway, as you'll see in just a moment here. Because it just clips it. I do kind of push it out of the way, but I did hit him. So there we go, 2d6 to pen. I need 6s to glance. Or sorry, 2d6 pick the highest because it is ordnance. And I get 1, so 1 glance, and he's got his 4 up. And there you go, he fails. 1 hull point left. So from there, I decide that I'm just going to shoot another one because I want to kill these Reapers. And it gets a direct hit, hitting all 5 of them, wounding them on 2s because it's very good. Against the tank, 6s to glance, and I got yet another one. So here we go, 4+, and he loses his tank, if he fails the 4+, of course. And he does not. So the tank lives. Those little fellas in there, I need 5 good dice, 2s to wound, and they've only got their cover save, so they'll have a 5 up against this. So here we go, 5+ against these 4 wounds, and because he only gets the area terrain against it, seeing as it is a barrage. Then he makes 4 5+. So unfortunately, I don't kill any of them, which kind of bums me out. The Guardians, the Guardsmen start firing away, and remember, this is the unit that has the heavy flamer, so they get to shoot that first. The flamethrower wounds them all, but thankfully to their 5-up invuln, they'll actually have a save against this. Normally they would not, because they only have a 4-up. Firing a crack missile, which misses, because it was just snap shooting. And now everybody fires their las guns, hitting on 3s, because they are veterans. Strangely accurate as well. And then wounding on 4s. At least their guns don't really wound them very well. So 2 wounds from that, and then a whole bunch of wounds from the heavy flamer, but he does have a 5-up and a 4-up, respectively. So here we go, the 5-up invuln, and he makes all but 1. So only 1 guy dies on 5 dice. And now here we go, his 4+ armor save, and he makes both of those as well. So unfortunately, we don't do all that well. So here we go, we've got the Commissar and his last surviving Storm Guard with him, and they get 1 wound with the AP3 Hotshot las gun. The Commissar misses. So we got 1 wound, he's got to make a 5-up again, and he'll have to make that. Whoop, and he does. That shield is really saving him right now. Here we go, the tank takes a few pot shots with its guns. Only the turret is really in front arc. It hits twice, wounding on 2s. 2 wounds, so he gets to make his 5-up. And here we go, the multi-laser, which is also able to hit him. And it does 1 wound. So he's got 2 5-ups and 1 4-up to make still. So here we go, the 5+, and he makes them both yet again. And the 4+, he does not. So there we go. So we were able to kill 2 Dire Avengers with a full unit of veterans, a tank, a Commissar, and a Stormtrooper. At the other end of the table, we fire off with the tanks, once again shooting its rockets and autocannon and heavy bolters. So heavy bolter gets 1 hit, 1 wound. The autocannon got a wound, and then the multi-laser gets a bunch of hits and 2s to wounds, and it gets 2 more. So he's got 4+ saves to make because they do have stealth. So +1 to his cover, and 3 of them die, which there were only 3 left, and so splat, they're dead. Over on the other end, the Dire Avengers here pass their leadership. The Eldar show up with another attempt on their Warp Spider Exarch, who leaped right onto my tank yet again, and so he's got to roll back into ongoing reserves. So 3 turns now, and he still has not been able to get that guy to land properly. Moving over here, the other tank moves 6 inches so it can disgorge all of its dirty little Dire Avengers, and they jump out from behind. These Dire Avengers move up, heading towards my last surviving units of Guardsmen on the left flank here. So we've got 1 squad there, 1 squad wrapping around the corner, and then we've got the Stormtrooper. And that's pretty much all I have, and the Stormtrooper's not scoring, so bad news for me. Here we go, he's firing away with all of his shuriken catapults, which unfortunately my guard don't even have saves against because they only have a 5-up because I didn't pay for the Grenadier bonus. Flat, flat. And then he gets to run a whole 1 inch, and so everybody just kind of shimmies a bit, but he's got fleet, so he can roll 2 inches, and so they all move 2 inches, taking cover behind the wall. Now, he had moved behind the wall thinking that it would be some kind of protection against what I was going to do, but we remembered that my Colossus is barrage, and so he wouldn't actually get it because he only get the cover from area terrain, not intervening terrain. And so if I chose to hit him with a barrage, it doesn't matter that he's behind that wall. My guys are just going to laugh at it anyway. Here we go, the tank firing away with its shuriken cannons, the red one being twin-linked. And he gets a bunch of hits, 2s to wound because they're guard, but we get their 5-up cover saves, which they all promptly fail. And so 1, 2, 3, they're dead. And failed my lookout, sir, when I realized that was my sergeant. But that's okay. So here we go. His shield is going to fire because he knows that it doesn't matter at this point. It gets 4 shots, 3s to hit, and 3 hits, 2s to wound, or 2 hits, 2s to wound, whatever. And they make one of their saves. So we lose one guy, one of the meltas. Splat. Here we go, firing his missiles at my tank on the far left, and he gets a couple hits, and it's 2s to glance because he's actually hit it in the side armor, but I do have a cover save from intervening rocks, and I do make all of the pens, but I fail the glance, so I lose 1 hull point. So he's immobilized at 1 hull point left. Morale check, they fail. Morale check, they pass, and they run 11 inches, so they're out of here. Let's get out of here and run. Here we go, he's charging in. Or rather, he's going to shoot him first, because, you know, that's what you do when you're going to charge. But shooting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Morale check, they pass. And so here comes the charge. They overwatch with their las guns. They get a lot of hits, but once again, they just can't do the wounds. And he makes his armor save. And so they charge. They easily make that charge. So it's basically 1-to-1, only he's got a power sword, higher initiative, higher weapon skill, and a better armor save. Things are not looking good for that little group. But they have their Lord Commissar nearby who's making them leadership 10, so who knows, maybe we'll survive. Power weapon attacks, wounding on 4s after hitting on 3s, and he does do a wound which kills one of my guys outright. Now he gets to attack with everybody else. They've all got 2 attacks each on the charge. And so they'll have 3s to hit and then 4s to wound, so a bunch of hits and a bunch of wounds. But I do have my 5-up, which I promptly fail. And so 2 more guys die, and that's it for those little guardsmen. They have their few counterattacks, the sergeant with his close combat weapon, and then the other guy, and they don't do any wounds, but they pass their leadership check and do not break, which is good to see. The Imperial Guard begin. The guys who had broken last turn, they continue to run and are not quite off the board yet, just sitting on the corner there, but they basically count the same for morale or victory points. These guys wrap around the outside of this rock, heading towards those dire vendors who've got their friends engaged, try and save them. See if we can make it. And then on the other side, we've got the Lord Commissar and his Storm Guard buddy coming out, because why not? We'll get everybody in on this one, and the Commissar does have a power fist, so he might actually be able to just crush some of these fellas. Firing the Colossus at the unit of dire vendors that tuck behind the wall there, and I get a direct hit, which hits all of them. And so I think there's 10 there. Yep, splat. And so 2s to wound. All but 1. Oh, gotta re-roll that one because it wasn't quite flat, but I still got him anyway. So 1 guy survives. Splat. And that's that. Leadership 9 for the pinning check, and they do pass. So he gets to live. We're gonna drop another one on the Reapers, but it misses by quite a bit. Miss. Here we go, taking shot to the tank. Firing off the melta gun. Hits. And the last cannon hits. And now the melta's got 2d6 to pen, or we have to measure this because I want to make sure, because he drove into the woods a bit there, and so if I'm within 6 I will get 2d6, and I was, so I do get a pen, and the las cannon gets a glance or a pen, doesn't really matter, because if he fails one of these he's dead anyway, and he is. Failed them both. So splat. Does it explode? Who knows, maybe it'll matter. Guess it does. And re-roll, but does matter. 2-inch explosion, doesn't affect anybody, and so that is the end of that tank. Here we go, taking 1 shots at that one guy with my tank across the board, firing its multi-laser and las cannon, or auto cannon, and its heavy bolter, which he just mows it down with a bunch of AP4 guns, which splat, 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 splat. We had a double check range, but I knew I was in range, and so he's dead. Charging, these guys charging from behind, these guys charging through the difficult, which they still make it on a 7. So a bunch of guys will get to jump over that rock and get into the combat. So in they go, trying to get into base to base, and then failing that, they all start moving through the rocks here because they've rolled 7 to go through difficult. That's why I rolled 3 dice, take away the highest. So they move across, some of them you can see piled up on the rocks there. He tries to issue a challenge, and I accept, so he hits twice and fails to wound, or does 1 wound rather. My sergeant took the challenge and he died. Here we go. Couple attacks with regular guys. Average weapon skill in that unit is 5, so he needs 4s to hit, which mattered not at all. And then wounding on 4s. He gets 1 wound if you got a 4+ save, and he fails it. So that is the end of that stormtrooper, and that is the last of the stormtroopers. Here we go, attacking that last few group of blue guys there, and he hits them twice. because they're only weapon skill 3, and force to wound does not do a wound. So the blue squad survives. Here we go, piling in at the initiative step. Everybody's moving 3, getting closer, getting into base to base. And in they go. So here we go, tons of attacks, and they're hitting on 4s though, because they're not that good at attacking. So hit him pretty poorly there, and then wounding on 4s, we get quite a few wounds, but he still has his 4-up save. And when I say quite a few, I of course mean barely any, because that was terrible. And he passes every one of his saves yet again. So here we go, the Lord Commissar attacks. He's hitting on 3s because he's average weapon skill of 4, and I wound 3 times, so he's got to make 3 5+ saves, and I should actually kill one of them this time. Hopefully I do. So one guy goes down, so I'm still losing combat, but I killed another one, and unfortunately that's all I got. So I pass my leadership, and the blue guy in there also passes leadership. So that's that. Is it night fighting? You bet it is, as we move into Eldar turn 5. So Eldar turn 5, once again, we're bringing in the Autar, or the Warp Spiders. Where are they going to show up? Do they scatter? Yes, but they scattered that way, and so they do not get pushed off the board yet again. So bam, everybody's here. These fellas moving through difficult terrain, they want to get a little bit further away to try and prevent my Colossus from taking shots at him, because he knows if he's outside of 36, then I can't shoot at him, thanks to the whole night fighting. But it's kind of pointless, seeing as he couldn't shoot me, but whatever. He shoots up my tank with all of the Warp Spiders. They've got pretty powerful guns, so it's entirely possible. The Autarch, though, he misses with his melta gun, so everybody else is shooting now. Forced to glance, and he just kind of tears it apart. Does it explode? Yes, it does. In a... doesn't matter, it's just going to hurt those guys in there. So we'll roll it to see, but... blam. 4. Only those guys. There's 9 guys inside because the big guy takes up 2 spots. And so 5-up saves, and they do surprisingly well. So only 2 are dead, and I decide to take away the missile launcher because I want everybody who can move. They then do their run because they can shoot and then run. And I, of course, pass my morale check, so they are not pinned. And so here we go. Everybody's moving across thanks to their battle focus. Firing rockets now at my poor guys here. First one misses, and so he's got a second shot thanks to snapshot, and it misses as well. So now he's firing just regular rockets at those guys, which unfortunately I'm going to get a cover save against because I was not getting a cover save against those blasts. So he hits quite a bit, wounding on 2s. Quite a few wounds, and 4 wounds. Splat. Thanks to it being night fight, it increased their cover save, in case you're wondering why it was more likely to live. And so they survived. And now here we go. He gets to make his jump move as well because it's the assault phase. And because it is the scouring, fast attack are able to score. So now that he's jumped onto this objective here, he's taken it away from me and basically guaranteed himself a win if I can't get him off of that. But I do have at least one more turn, potentially, to try and stop him. Hopefully I can bombard him with a few colossal shots without killing my own guys. Here we go. Everyone piles in. All the Eldar guys are rushing for the Commissar. They want to kill him. The Autarch attacks first. He gets 1 hit and 1 wound. Here we go. I've got to make my 5-up invuln, and I do. So here we go. He's attacking with the other 2 guys against the Autarch, which he gets a 4 to hit because I'm actually weapon skill 5, and he misses with both those attacks. Over here, these few guys, they attack and miss horribly against that last blue man. The rest of the unit attacks, they throw in their attacks. He's got to make a bunch of 4+, and he does fail one. Oh, got to re-roll that one because it's not flat on the table. Oh, and he fails it. So those 2 guys are dead. The Lord Commissar attacks, hitting 2 and wounding on 2s. Smack, smack. And he fails his 5-up at last, so 2 more of them get killed, and he's down to just the Autarch. But I do win combat, and he fails his leadership check, so the initiative check begins, and the Lord Commissar actually runs him down. Bam! Eat that, Eldar, and your high initiative. So everybody scatters, they all move 3 inches. Those guys move over to grab the 3-point objective right here, just kind of huddling up. And then the other guard squad, that blue guy right there, he gets to wander off 3 inches, and because he's still alive, he can still hold objectives, and the Lord Commissar stands there with him. Morale check on the beginning of the Imperial Guard turn to see if the autocannon or the las cannon rallies. It fails, so it continues to run, but it can snap shoot while it runs, which would be an amazing shot to be running while carrying a cannon while shooting at people, but that's what he can try and do. These guys move into the woods, so at least they can contest, even if they're going to get blown up by my artillery scattering on top of them. That's a risk I'm willing to take if it means killing some of these dirty Eldar scum. Yep, that's what I'm going for. Anyway, The guardsmen all pile up into the woods, getting ready for the fight that's going to decide the end of the game. These guys just kind of hustle over the Lord Commissar and his little companion. And he's not quite far enough there to make it, but they will get to run in the shooting phase. These guys all just kind of pile in behind the wall there so that they're safe from rockets that might come across the board. They get their run 5 inches, and so they're able to jump onto that objective and hold it. Here we go. These guys fire away in there. First we fire the las cannon, hitting on a 6. And he misses. So that was his attempt. Everybody else fires away. The Meltas, of course, are the red ones, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s and 4s. So we get 1 Melta wound and then 3 regular saves. So I decide that I want him to take the regular saves first, because if I kill these guys, then I can hit the Autarch with my Melta. He fails all of his saves, which was terrible, so he loses 3 of them right there. And then from there he gets the option to do Lookout Sirs, because they are starting to hit his Autarch at this point. He does succeed to pat on the Lookout Sir, and so 4 guys get killed. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So he actually loses his Exarch, because the Exarch's right next to the Autarch. Unfortunately, you can't really see him from this point of view. So 1, 2 of them are dead, and another one. Oh man, camera kind of got all over the place here. But now he's got to make his Lookout Sir against the Melta, which he does pass, and so he's got to make his cover save, or rather, he doesn't get a cover save because this guy's not there. Splat. And he's dead. Firing my Colossus at them, going for it for the barrage, and I'm just going to try and hit him. It scatters back directly towards my own guys, but it does scatter 9 inches because I don't have direct line of sight. And it hits one of them anyway, wounding him on 2s. And of course it is my Melta, and it hits him and kills him because you don't get cover if you're not in area terrain. And he does pass his morale check though, so good for him. Here we are at the end of the game. Kyle is going to concede at this point because wave after wave of guardsmen are just too powerful.
Eldar, we don't have the numbers. Epic handshake.
Yep, Eldar do not have the numbers to keep up with, I think I brought like 60 models in this game, which is still less than what Jay brought against you. But mine all carry guns. Yeah, I think that's the difference. Yeah. And are in
but we're not going to tell you how that one happened, in case whichever one gets put up first.
Which will probably be this one.
Yeah.
Probably. I edit faster than Jay does. But anyway, so here we are. The end score is 7-1, because they're still contesting it at this point. We assumed that he would have killed them.
Points. I got 2.
Oh yeah, line breaker.
But so the game didn't end where I conceded, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fair. So here we are. Stay tuned, Vault members. We're going to have a quick post-game show, talk about this game, what we would have done differently, what we would have brought differently, aimed at differently. And stay tuned for that. Happy wargaming. Hey Vault members, Owen here for MiniWarGaming, post-game to the 1500 point Imperial Guard versus Eldar game. What'd you think?
It was good. Pretty close matchup actually. I didn't have much to pop tanks, but I did a pretty good job of glancing them to death.
We don't have very durable tanks.
No. Once you get on the sides, they're pretty easy to pop.
Yep. Not like your tanks.
No.
There's no easy way to do it. You just gotta shoot them a lot.
I only have 2 compared to your 8.
Yep. That said, it took almost all those turns to kill those 2. But we still had 2 surviving tanks. I wish I had remembered what kind of tank this was, because I spent the first 2 turns not shooting until I realized that it wasn't a Medusa. So that's a thing.
Yeah, that's because that would have probably took out the Reapers a lot earlier.
Or all the Vipers.
Or the Vipers, yeah.
Because it was ordnance too, so it was 2d6 pick the highest, and it was 4s to glance. So it would have just, and you would have only had your Jink, and it would have been hitting multiple. Yeah, it would have happened.
Yeah,
but then again,
this game would not have been so close though.
Then again, them.
Yeah.
Failing to deep strike 5 times. Though in all likelihood, you should have just died a few of those times. I mean, I could have gotten to place them. All kinds of stuff could have happened.
Yeah.
Though the way the objectives were set up, there wasn't really anywhere I could put them that would hurt you too bad.
No, I spread out a lot because my objectives because I didn't.
Originally, I wanted that side. That was my intent. Yeah. I was going to slide up there and then just move right up this one side and camp on all 4 of these.
You could,
yeah, that was the plan. But you won the roll off.
I would have got the I would have had the 1 4-point objective sitting back there, but you probably would have.
Then it would have been like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bam, and probably leave 1 tank over there. Exactly what I did in this game. Yeah. Leave 1 guy there to hold 1 objective.
Opposite side.
Yeah.
Yeah, made a few rookie mistakes with my Reapers. Shot at Medusa when I probably should have shot at the 1 guard squad here.
Yeah, shooting at that Chimera when those guard were all daisy chained here.
Yeah, well I shot at that thing though, but yeah.
No, you shot this guy.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Oh. You side armored him, and that's why it was only like 2s.
Then I still didn't take him out.
Yeah, well, cover shape.
Yeah, so yeah, there's some other rookie mistakes, but like trying to be too aggressive with the deep striking.
Yep.
Splat!
Yep, splat.
At least they didn't die, so.
Which would have been Slay the Warlord and another victory point, because I would have killed another fast attack.
Yeah, because this was scouring.
Didn't have any fast attack on my side.
No. But that kind of became your advantage.
Squad after squad after squad.
Yeah.
That's how you hold the objectives. Though pretty much everybody died. I mean, there's 8 models left over here and about 9 over here. So that puts it at 6 squads getting killed off out of my 8. So pretty brutal kill ratios right there.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't a bad match. It was just with the fast attack points that you get because I brought 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because those were the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vipers were good kills. I mean, if it had been something else, heavy support could have been these 2 and then him, but...
Like, that's the problem with, Vipers are great against anything that's slow and high toughness, but against the tanks, they're just trying to...
Or just bodies.
Yeah,
where it's like, oh look, he's killing them.
Yeah, you can't get too close in with Vipers because they're only armor 10.
Yep.
So you gotta try and maintain a distance, but you also want to, so you have to get the shuriken cannons in there, otherwise you only get the 2 shots.
Yeah, well, unlike most armies, we can't even glance you with our regular troops, though. Like,
that's true.
Lasguns are only strength 3, so it was like, it was Melta or bust, and they ended up working out.
Yeah, it did work out, because you did not miss a Melta.
Nope.
At the end, you failed to wound on 1. That was it.
I failed to wound a couple times and failed to pen a couple times, but I never missed. Like, they were all hit.
Guardsmen are good at accuracy, just...
Veterans, man.
Yeah,
70 points. Crazy expensive.
Oh,
crazy expensive.
Yeah. Compared to my Avengers squad that killed 10 for...
Killed how many of my units? Like 2? My 260 point Casterkin squad, and then another entire... All but one man from the blue squad who walked over and took this objective because the Lord Commissar just held his hand and walked him out of that carnage.
For those... You're coming on with me.
Basically, he was sitting there because that was where all of them died too. Like, they died right there, and there was one guy left. And the commissar was just like, "Okay, come on, and follow me this way, and we're gonna go take that objective, and we're gonna win." Oh
yeah, no. So for those of you who say bring Guardians, I don't know. I still say bring Dire Avengers. 5-up Invol.
Yep, Shimmer Shield.
That sure did do a wonderful job over here.
Yeah. All right, so leave a comment below. Let us know if you would have done anything differently, any rules mistakes, because I'm sure we made a rules mistake somewhere, because he's pretty new and I always forget stuff. So stay tuned for more Warhammer, Warhammer Fantasy, and Warhammer War Machine. That's the last game. Battle reports. Happy wargaming.